Good morning, everybody. It is a happy Friday for me, but hi, wherever you are watching this recording. It's actually Good Friday. So I just forgot what the Friday was called. It's actually Good Friday at the point of recording this, and so I'm actually here on my own, working on a bank holiday, just making sure that we are getting this content to you. This is probably one of my most requested sessions from you guys, again, in terms of a really big part of my brand and what I do, what I talk about online is productivity, managing your time, and exactly what that looks like too. And so today we are going to take a deep dive into how to manage your time as a self-employed person. Very often when we work in employment and we make the jump into self-employment, it can feel incredibly scary. It can feel quite overwhelming to understand how we can be spending our time in the most productive and efficient way. If you follow me online, you will know that I share my daily schedule every single day. And so I get questions every day on how I manage my time, how I understand how I understand my priorities, how I minimize distractions, how I create that personalized schedule that you'll see online every single day. And so today we're going to be walking and talking you through exactly how to manage your time as a self-employed person. Before I get stuck in, if you are new here, then welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. If this is the first time you have come across me or my content, I'm so excited to have you here. My name is Rachel. I'm the founder of Accountant She and StriveX Accountants, which is one of the UK's fastest scaling accountancy practices. Accountant She is a safe place for everybody, where our goal is to increase people's financial educations and decrease the barriers to entry into the finance industry. Through doing that, I get to work with incredible brands. I get to do incredible things. We are talking speaking events, live TV, national TV, huge PR, appearing in things like Forbes magazine, and being mentioned on the 35 under 35 list. And so again, all of this feeds into my mission to lower the barriers to entry for the finance industry and to just make all of this content more accessible. And again, these webinars are a huge part of that. So super excited and proud to have you here with me today. And so I just thought we would run through exactly what we're going to go through today in the order that we're going to go through it all. And so we're going to kick off by talking about priorities, how we minimize distractions as self-employed people. We're going to talk about creating those personalized schedules and how we get from a big task list into that schedule, how we do long-term and short-term goal setting, time blocking, technology and productivity tools that I use and that I've seen other people use super successfully because it's not a one size fits all. And then how we work on delegating and outsourcing, because I've built a little bit of a formula that can help you understand how to delegate and outsource within your business. But as we go throughout today, it could be that you want more deep dives into a specific topic. So the QR code that's on the screen right now will take you to all of my long and short form content that is available to you completely free. So if you at any point just pause the recording and scan this QR code, you'll be able to take a deep dive into lots of the topics. And again, at different points in different slides, I've got customized QR codes to take you to specific content. So if I'm talking about a specific topic and you can see a QR code, just scan that and save that content for later, and we'll be able to take a deep dive in that together. So we're going to kick off today by talking about how to set priorities. And I really am going to run you through how we set priorities long-term and short-term, and then how we understand how to maintain those priorities without dealing with distractions. One of a key highlight for me in 2023 was hosting our first ever in-person event. And we had a couple of different speakers, some incredible speakers. And one of the speakers was a guy called Josh Croggan, who is actually the world's #1 bodybuilder. And he is a close friend of ours, and he came to speak to business owners all about priorities and distractions. And the theme of his talk was actually discipline. And he said a quote that has become a bit of a mantra to me, because you'll see me sharing my daily schedules and you'll think like, oh my gosh, like how is this person just getting out of bed and doing it every single day? And lots of people use the word productive when they talk about me and my schedules online. And I actually disagree with that. I don't think it's productivity. I think it's discipline. And Josh at StriveX said, discipline is the choice of choosing something which relates to your long-term goal over your short-term discomfort. So I've always had like very clear priorities. I do lots of goal setting within my business. A really great book recommendation, if you struggle with setting priorities in your business, is a book called Traction. If you're Googling it, it's called Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business. It is a black and orange covered book. It is a book that I've read like 17 times. I just finish it cover to cover and then start again. If you're struggling with setting priorities within your business, Traction is a really, really good place to start. And the reason I put priorities and distractions on the same talking point here are because they are the same thing. Like, you can only turn the volume down on distractions if you know what is a distraction versus what is a priority. And so the mantra that I live with is that actually I'm not engaging in high level productivity. I'm engaging in high levels of discipline because I have explicit clarity on where I am going. And I know what the distractions are, and I know what I need to do to get to my long-term goals. And so every morning when I get up at 6 to do monk mode and clear my inbox, that's not productivity. That is me choosing the long-term goal of growing and scaling my business into a multi-million-pound accountancy practice and becoming the employer and the accountant of choice across the UK for influencers, celebrities, and the self-employed. I'm choosing that over the short-term discomfort of getting my bum out of bed. And so the reason I wanted to talk about priorities and distractions in the same section is because to me, they are the same thing. And so when we're looking at time management and we're looking at how to manage our time as a business owner, having a long-term goal is really, really important. So for me, that looks like a vision board, which I literally have as my desktop background on my computer. So I have explicit clarity. The book that I just mentioned, Traction, actually gives you the tools and resources to set core values, long-term goals, 10, 5, 3, and 1 year plans within your business, to really get to like a scorecard that every single month, whether that's in board meetings or as part of your financial well-being routine, you're able to really have clarity every single month on what that looks like for you. So kicking off, we can't understand how to manage our time as a self-employed person if we don't have clarity on what is a priority and what is not. And so once we then have clarity, it becomes a lot easier to identify and eliminate the distractions that we're talking about. For me, that's things like I do monk mode between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. and that is the only time of the day that I check my inbox. I own a very busy business. We have 700 clients, 20 members of staff, but you don't email the fire brigade. Like, if somebody needs me urgently, it's not going to be coming through in an email. Actually, me having Outlook open is just a recipe for me I could spend my whole day, every day, trying to clear my inbox, and I would never succeed because it's just a treadmill that doesn't stop. So understanding, identifying, and eliminating those distractions can be super helpful. Lots of people use things like brown noise. I play a lot of brown noise in my office. Brown noise can really help you to eliminate lots of background thinking brain space. If you've never heard of brown noise before, it's a little bit like white noise, but it has a little bit more traction and motion in it, and really, really helps. It's actually proven to help specifically ADHD, people who have ADHD. It can really help them to concentrate. I do not have ADHD, but I really like brown noise as well. So once we've got that clarity on what your priorities are, it then becomes so much easier to turn down the volume on those distractions. So I know where I'm going. Checking my inbox is not going to get me there. Growing my business and creating value added and impactful things with my time is going to get me there. And so that was how I decided to only check my emails once a day. Next up, I am very excited about this one because this could be the reason that lots of you are here, is the personalized schedule. Your schedule, your time management, like, this is the juice of what we are getting into. And I'm going to come on to goal setting and time blocking in a second on the next slide. But here we are talking about creating a personalized schedule. You will have all seen the daily schedules that I post online. I have got a QR code here that's going to blow your mind. This is a video which walks and talks you through how I get from an overwhelming task list into a daily schedule that you see online. And so for me, that daily schedule, it changes over time. Like, if you saw a schedule of mine a year ago or 2 years ago, would be different to the schedule that you see now. But I'm just going to run you through some of the techniques because we have got this deep dive resource. So I'm very, very excited. This is literally like an extra 25 minutes within today's session, all in that QR code on the productivity method. So the productivity method is the name for the process that I follow. But within that schedule, what I'm doing is basically breaking my to-do list down into 3 different sections. For me, my life runs from my inbox. Like, my inbox is my Bible. That's how I know what I've got on, what I'm doing, and then that feeds into the daily schedule. So if I open my inbox in the morning and I've just got a list of emails, what I'm going to do there is go through my emails and I'm going to categorize them. So when I say categorize, I mean literally just use the categories that are built into Microsoft Outlook, or again, if you use a different email provider, they all have different email categories. You can customize them, you can name them, you can have them all as your favorite colors if you want to. So I have 3 categories. I have quick ticks, I have tasks, and I have projects. So the first thing that I do every single morning before creating my schedule is go through my emails, and I'm going to categorize them into quick ticks, tasks, and projects. Quick ticks are quick tick emails, are exactly what they say on the tin. Quick tick tasks that take me 5 minutes or less to answer that email. So the majority of emails that we get in a day are quick ticks, but by grouping them together and doing task, 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 dopamine, 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 dopamine can really help your brain. I also try and group my quick tick tasks into the type of tasks that they are, so it takes less time to get them done. So if I take, for example, reviewing and signing off a new client, I would categorize them as quick ticks, but I would group them together. So I would do like 5 client sign-offs all in one go. That means that all of the different bits of like software and platforms that I need to be logged into to do that task are all happening at the same time, and I know exactly what I'm doing. It's just quicker to bolt them together. So the first thing that I do is categorize my quick ticks. I'm then going to categorize my tasks. And so tasks are emails that take 10 minutes or longer. Again, normally I can group them together and sort of do time blocks of like 30 minutes to 60 minutes to get multiple tasks done. And that's a task that you would see on my daily schedule. And then projects are bigger projects that are normally made up of smaller tasks. So it could be, I'm trying to think, could be I want to recruit for an assistant manager would be a project, and I then need to break that down into smaller tasks like create social media content, advertising, create a job description, set up a job application online, do some outreach from our employee waiting list. I can turn that down. I can break it down into smaller tasks as well. So that's the actual like how I break down my to-do list into quick ticks, tasks, and projects. Again, I group quick ticks. I have 2 hours from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every single day to go through my quick ticks. Tasks get slotted into my schedule. So the next thing that I do is go to my schedule for the day. I look at what blocked meetings I have in that are fixed and I can't change. They're meetings with other people. I then take my tasks and I block them into my diary in the spaces in between. And then I'm going to break down my projects into smaller tasks and also block them into my schedule as well. Again, if you want a deep dive into this method, you can scan the QR code and head to that YouTube video now. And so that's the actual sort of practicalities of how to get to a personalized schedule and how to manage your time as a self-employed person. But there's a couple of things that I've touched on there that I'm just going to explain a little bit more about. And the first is that it's really important when you're thinking about how to manage your time as a self-employed person. And this is really a skill that we don't get taught at school. You don't get taught this when you become self-employed. You actually don't get taught it when you become employed in most places. We actually teach our team how to do this. But one of the most important things when you are creating a schedule, when you're looking at how to manage your time, is actually assessing your energy levels and comparing that to your workflow patterns. So for me, I absolutely love having dedicated time in my diary to exercise every single day. I know it helps me sleep, it improves my circadian rhythm, it helps me to get outside, get fresh air. I can also walk the dog while I'm running. It achieves multiple things for me, but it also helps me to maintain an energy level that is required. Other people, if you'd heard me say I get up and clear my inbox from 6 till 8, you'd be like, absolutely not. I want to stay in bed. I'm not doing it. It's really important to lean into that. I think there's a huge misconception that productivity needs to be painful. It doesn't. I'm not talking about ice baths. I'm talking about getting cozy, getting a coffee, and clearing your inbox. And so, really important here to note, this doesn't have to be painful. Assess your energy levels, assess your workflow patterns. If you're trying different schedules and you're trying different ways of managing your time based on the content that we're going through today, keep a journal, keep a diary. I have a Whoop, which is like a wellness tracker that actually gives me data based on changes in my schedule and literally tells me what has a positive or negative impact on my stress levels, energy levels, and overall fitness and recovery. So always try and keep in tune with your energy levels as we go. Um, deeping, diving deeper into that, really important to create a schedule that aligns with your productivity peaks. So if there is a specific time of day where you know you are very productive, put your highest important or most productive tasks in that area. 6 to 8 for me is a happy space. No one else is at work. I can clear my inbox without more emails coming in. That 6 to 8 period has become gospel in my life. It aligns with my productivity peaks. I always exercise in the afternoon because normally in the afternoon, I'm either going to exercise or I'm going to need a nap. And so I exercise in the afternoon. And then I have meetings that aren't like intense meetings, but are meetings that I can just stand and contribute to in the afternoon. And so every schedule that you see of mine is aligned not only to my energy levels, but also to my productivity peaks as well. So the next thing that we're going to move on to is goal setting and time blocking within that. And so the first thing that we spoke about today was traction, goal setting, scorecards. And it's really important to make sure that you are not just creating a schedule that is reactive from your inbox. So I've said how I go through my inbox and prioritize, but it's really important that you make time within your schedule for the things that you set goals on, for like actually really making sure that on a long-term basis you're not just clearing your inbox and that you are setting yourself up for success. So how can we do that? By implementing time blocking. And so when you have your long-term goals, for me, again, that's a vision board, that's a very clear strategy of where I'm going. It's really, really important to make sure you have dedicated time on your business, not in it, to make sure that you are getting yourself towards that goal. So for me, I have 1 week of every 4 working on my business, not in it. If I've just said that and your ears have pricked up and you've been like, that is the bit that I need, stay tuned, because we are hosting in-person and online events in 2024 that are going to teach you how to switch between working on your business and working in your business, how to set long-term goals, which fundamentally will teach you how to manage your time better. So moving on, we're moving on to technology and productivity tools. Again, I will prefix this by saying that this is different for everybody. This is very timely to 2024 at the point of recording this, and keeping an eye out and chatting to other self-employed people about the tools and techniques that they use has always been a core part of me constantly developing this area of my life. And so I just thought I would run through a couple of the tools that I love. I've already touched on brown noise. AI, oh my gosh, I am very lucky in that I have exec assistants, I have digital marketing assistants, and I have a business development manager as well. So I have a lot of support around my role, have worked very hard to get to the point where I've got multiple team members whose roles exist to support mine. But AI has a huge role in that as well. And so allocating time in my schedule to understand how I can use AI to either reduce distractions, track my time better, create better schedules, track my habits, but also actually get some of the chunk of the work done for me as well is super important. Understanding things like do not disturb mode to help you manage your time. So once you have set your long-term goals, you know what your targets are, you've worked out what your distractions are, like actually is there functionality in there to just put do not disturb on, close your emails to really, really focus on that high level productivity. And then I couldn't not mention Notion. Notion or Loop, which is the Microsoft version, are incredible tools for breaking down really big projects into multiple tasks. If you know me, you'll know that I love an aesthetic vibe, and it is incredibly aesthetically pleasing. And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about today, before we were going to move on to a Q&A, but it is a bank holiday, and so it's literally me talking to myself. The final thing that we're going to talk about today is delegation and outsourcing. And so we've got a QR code here, which is going to take you to some bonus content to actually decide when and what to outsource within your business. And this is a really good time for me to walk and talk you through the process that James and I have always used to understand when to delegate and when to outsource. But before I do that, I will just run through, when I said earlier that I like go through my inbox and work out quick ticks, tasks and projects, before I do that, I actually have to make sure that the emails that I'm reviewing are actually for me and that I am the most appropriate person to do that. So before I get to quick ticks, tasks, and projects, I'm actually scouring through my inbox with the 3 Ds in my head, which is do, diarize, or delegate. And so the delegate is obviously the piece that we're talking about now. For every single email, I should either be doing it, so that's a quick tick, diarizing it, which is a task, or delegating it to somebody else. And just, I think delegation is a muscle that you build, because as a business owner, it can feel very hard. It can feel like you have to do everything yourself. Very often you might be trying to save some money by doing things yourself. And so we actually came up with a tool called an internal charge out rate, which really helps us to understand how to delegate, what to delegate, and when you can like afford to delegate something. And I say afford in inverted commas. That feeling of being able to afford something will be different for everybody, but James and I have always used internal charge out rates. An internal charge out rate is an intrinsic charge out rate that we have as self-employed people, but also as individuals. So this spans across our business life and our personal life. So an internal charge out rate is the charge out rate that we hold across our business life, across our personal life. And if we can outsource or delegate something for less than that, we do it. And this is going to blow your brains a little bit, but I'm excited about it. We have created a formula that helps you to understand at any given time what your charge out rate should be. Again, this isn't the charge out rate that I charge clients. That's a lot higher. My internal charge out rate is a lot lower. But it's really helped us to understand things like when we first became self-employed, we were making no money. It was very hard. We just wanted to pay our mortgage. And so all of the support that I have now, like a cleaner and a housekeeper, did not exist. And it shouldn't have existed at that point. I had to build it up to the point. And so the formula that we have is taking your gross annual salary, and this works if you're employed, self-employed, or both. Gross salary, so salary before tax, however much you take from your business in total before tax. I need you to knock 3 zeros off the end of that number and then divide the number that is left by 2. So you're dividing that number by 2,000. So if you were on a £100,000 salary, actually you can outsource anything for £50 or less, you should be outsourcing it. If you're on a 50k salary, if you can outsource something for 25k, 25 pounds an hour, you should be. And it just really helps you to understand as your business grows and your income grows, it gives you more opportunity to outsource, because actually when we get to that point, it's much less about delegating and outsourcing and much more about buying back headspace, buying back time to get us to the point where we really feel like we can relax and enjoy the life that we lead outside of work as our business has grown as well. And so that is internal charge out rates. I'm hoping in a really good way that has blown your mind, but I just really wanted to set the tone and remind you that as self-employed people, delegation is a muscle that we build and that we keep, and it can feel very hard. It can feel incredibly difficult. But that's really, really the aim of the game. And so just growing in confidence of like how, when, what, and why to delegate is super important. But hopefully through the process of setting those long-term goals, understanding what your goals are, understanding how to like turn the volume down on those distractions, understanding how to build those long-term goals into your daily schedules, work on your business, not in it, can really help you to understand what, when, and how you should be delegating. And that's all we've got today. We normally do a bit of a deep dive Q&A, but it's just Rachel on a bank holiday, living her best life. So again, there's a QR code. One of the best ways that you can say thank you for us putting on these webinars is to talk about it, tell your friends about it, and really, really spread the word. So we'd love for you to take a little snippet, post this onto your Instagram stories, tag me, let me know, tag me in your daily schedules once you've implemented this process and we start to see it. But thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again very soon.